I know I am late to the game, but I wanted to talk about the first trailer for the Penguin miniseries.
'Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side.
Hi everyone, my name is Jacob Berry. Welcome to the StudioJake vidcast where I talk about all things pop culture. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and consider becoming a channel member. Alright, diving right into it. I am always hesitant when it comes to Batman shows that don't have Batman. Case in point, Birds of Prey, which they were originally going to connect to Smallville somehow, but never did because the show is terrible. At least that one didn't have a cliffhanger ending. Batwoman, I didn't even give it a try. I mean, when the first look 8-minute trailer makes your stomach churn, no, thank you. And there's a whole host of other ones that I could name, right? Gotham Knights. Now, Gotham was more of a prequel, so, take that for what it is. Same with Alfred. Alfred, the television show, was a prequel to Gotham. They exist in the same universe, apparently. So, bearing all that in mind, whenever I hear that Warner Brothers is going to do another Batman television show without Batman, I tend to roll my eyes because they all have varying quality. With Gotham specifically, I did enjoy Gotham as a prequel. I always liked the show when it focused on Wayne and Gordon, but whenever it would, focus too long on, say, the Penguin, then I did get annoyed by that. Now, this series takes place after the Matt Reeves directed film The Batman, and it's supposed to show how the Penguin shores up power as the new gangster. And the trailer doesn't reveal a whole lot. It just shows little vignettes, and the Penguin is giving this monologue about a gangster he once knew that had respect, so much so that when he died, the community threw him a parade. And it kind of ends where the Penguin says, "Can you imagine to be remembered like that?" before it goes into it. Now, this is according to the Radio Times, where they go into a little bit of detail about the miniseries. The Penguin is an 8-part series destined for Max, formerly known as HBO Max, over here in the USA. Over in the USA. Here in the UK, its home hasn't been announced officially, but observant TV fans will know that HBO series generally end up on Sky TV and its streaming service now. Plot. Oh, hang on. Plot details are thin on the ground, but the official press release tells us that the show continues the Batman epic crime saga that filmmaker Matt Reeves began with Warner Brothers Pictures' global blockbuster The Batman, and centers on the character played by Farrell in the film. No kidding. The trailer itself is a lot more interesting than that synopsis, and then they have a link to it. And I highly recommend you go watch it, make up your own mind. Now, being a Batman aficionado and, you know, being introduced to the world of Batman and his mythology and lore for so long has really, tapped me into these things. Now, the Penguin specifically, I don't think can hold his own series, and I'm just being honest about that because while he's a compelling villain, he's not. He doesn't have a lot of agency without Batman. And see, this was originally my problem with Joker, because I don't think you can have the Joker without the Batman. Now, obviously, that film, Todd Phillips' film, proved me wrong. So maybe the Penguin will. I'm just saying, going off my experience, they're batting, you know, ridiculously low. It's 1-7, right? So one win with the Joker, and then 7 losses with all these other spinoffs. Heck, even Titans tried to do a Batman show without Batman, right? Where the Titans all move into Wayne Manor, and then they become the Guardians of Gotham, and Batman broke his one rule. Now, I'm going to eventually do a video on Batman's one rule because it has come under constant scrutiny lately, with pop culture pretenders wanting to do breakdowns, to people genuinely wanting Batman to return to his pulp roots. And just on a note with that, with the pop culture pretenders, I'm talking about political podcasters who they'll go off on some tangent. Oh, why can't Batman be more like the Punisher? Or, film directors, people here in the video sharing space. Now, to the people who want him to go back to his pulp roots when he was carrying a gun, it that just makes him another Shadow knockoff. Characters like the Shadow or Savage or whoever, insert pulp character here, yes, they killed, and Batman originally slew his enemies. Now, not to the degree where some people try to make it out like how Zack Snyder had him with a mounted machine gun on the Batmobile. It is true that Batman used a machine gun one time, but to go after mutants and stuff, they weren't, he wasn't like gunning down gangsters and endangering civilians when he did it. Neither here nor there. That's my opinion of it. And I think with the Penguin is supposed to be, he desires to be in the upper crust of society. Upper crust of society has rejected him because of his disfigurement. So that's how he has become the Penguin. That's why he becomes a mobster, but he still likens himself to enjoying the finer things. And that's what makes him a compelling villain against Batman, is you kind of have this dark, slovenly, amoral man who enjoys going to the opera, who likes five-star meals and whatnot. But it has that contrasting thing, and of course he always has his umbrellas ready to go if he needs to. That's obviously very different than how he was portrayed in Batman Returns, and even in with Batman Returns specifically, it inspired the look of the early days of the Penguin before they changed it to the new Batman Adventures. But Batman the Animated Series based it on the Batman Returns persona, played by Danny DeVito, of course. Now, with Colin Farrell, I was surprised. I thought he would make a terrible Penguin, but he's done an amazing job as the Penguin. My concern with the show, besides because of its separation with Batman, is it's just going to feel like a mayor of Kingstown set in Gotham City. It's not going to feel like a Batman story because Batman's not in it, or at least not that we know of. Supposedly, they're also going to do a GCPD show. They're supposedly going to do an Arkham Asylum spinoff. Now, I have heard that the Arkham show is no longer part of the Batman. I've heard that it is going to be part of James Gunn's DC universe, his DC film universe. So I don't know if that's how that's going to play out anymore. But supposedly Matt Reeves is still involved with that project. However, it turns out, I do hope that we get the Batman trilogy, although it's looking more and more like they'll probably just end it with the Batman Part 2. Supposedly, rumors are swirling about who's going to be the villain. Some people are saying it's going to be Clayface. Some people are saying Hush. Some people saying it might be the Joker. I would like to see them do a character who's never been seen on screen before, like Black Mask. Yes, I said it, and I'm not taking it back. Or someone more unique like Hush or Clayface. If they could do Clayface, they could make it where he's his pre mud monster form, because it seems to me the Batman universe is trying to be more grounded, similar to the Dark Knight trilogy, just a little bit different. And the Batman surprised me. One thing that Jester Bell, a friend of the channel, have talked about with the Batman, it seems that if you read the comics, you liked the Batman. If you weren't involved in the comics, those people tended to hate it. I recently had on Paul Rowland. He's a friend of mine who directed Exemplum, the indie film Exemplum, which you can watch on Tubi or here on YouTube. And he actually DM'd me after he watched it, and he despised it, and even told me not to watch it. I guess he didn't see that I had given it a good review and even put it in my top 10 favorite films of that year when it came out. My Another concern I have with the Batman universe is I'm worried that this Penguin series won't gin up excitement for it. One of the things that led up to the Batman being so good and at the box office, or doing so well at the box office, was the fact that the pandemic was ending, and so the theaters were opening back up, and it hit that sweet spot. So that led it, and like I said, most people seem to enjoy it. It did decently well at the box office. With the Penguin series, I feel like it's not going to gin up excitement for the Batman Part 2. I think that it's just going to make people go, a show about the Penguin? Now, like I said, I could be wrong. This could be a smash hit for Max. It could be amazing, but that is just what I am saying as someone who has been watching Batman media for some time. I think that that is the most likely scenario. If you like that video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, share it all out, leave me a comment, tell me what you think. If you're watching on YouTube, ring that little bell so you get notifications. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and become a channel member. You get all kinds of cool perks. I'm going to be doing member-only videos. I release at least one video a week to members first before it goes out to the public, so you'll definitely want to catch that. And if you don't want to support me on Big Tech, don't blame you. If you're watching on Rumble, Odyssey, or BitChute, click on the link to my locals community. It's kind of like a Patreon. You can support me there. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time right here on Studio Jake.
Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side, PCH country limit. I don't need a guide.